What's up, everybody? I am here at Quincy Market, the famous Faneuil Hall here in Boston, Massachusetts, and I just watched the amazing Red Trousers, Tobin and David. What's up, guys?
Hey, hello, Lucian. How are you?
Good, man. So what got you guys into juggling?
You know, we got a new teacher when we were in 5th grade in elementary school, and she had studied mime under Marcel Marceau.
Oh,
Her
nice.
name is Jackie Davis.
Wow.
And she started a little circus program for the 7th and 8th
if you
graders.
want. Just finish shows.
And so, you know, she would do a little circus show every winter with the 7th and 8th grade.
Right.
And she taught us how to juggle and unicycle, and, you know, from there we just loved it.
Wow, cool.
Started practicing a ton, and then we heard about Circus Smirkus, which is a youth circus.
Oh, really? Did Circus Smirkus?
They started from
Wow.
yeah.
I just saw, I was just in Lake George doing shows, and they had a flyer? Flyer for Circus Smirkus.
Oh, okay.
coming
Yeah,
in
it's because
town.
they were performing
Yeah.
in Saratoga Springs, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What was it like working for Circus Smirkus?
I mean, it's just the most fun you could possibly have as a kid if you're into circus stuff.
Wow.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it's
Awesome.
a dream. You're performing shows all around New England in an actual circus tent with like 30 of your best friends.
Cool.
It's like,
And
yeah,
we had
amazing.
pretty high-level coaching there as well. You know, we had coaches from the Moscow State Circus, from
Nice.
Mongolia, so
Nice.
we learned, you know, a lot of really great circus skills.
How old were you at that time?
We started doing their summer camp the summer after 6th grade
Yeah.
and 7th grade, and then we did the touring show the summers after 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Oh, wow.
So 5 years on the touring show.
Wow. What was your favorite thing to do when you were there? Would you like acrobats, or did you get in more? I mean, what got you into acrobatics?
I mean, our focus at the time was more the juggling. So we were doing a
did a-
4-person club passing act.
Wow.
Thinking that we were going to go professional into like the circus world with a 4-person club passing act, and then the one guy wanted to go back to school. He kind of fell out after 12th grade, and my sister was in the act as well.
Oh, cool.
So she busted up her knee and was already doing online college, and she decided to go back to school as well. So
Right.
it just ended up being just Tobin and I.
Turns out it's hard to keep a troop of 4 people together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and find work that can pay 4 people.
So you guys been together how long?
I mean, we went to school together since 1st grade.
Okay.
And we started performing in that youth circus at our school in 5th grade.
We went professional in 2003 when we went out of high school.
So
Wow.
15 years.
So it's
15
been 15
years.
years of
Awesome.
professional. Well, I call it professional, but at the beginning it was
It was professional.
Yeah.
We were getting paid.
Yeah.
we just weren't working much.
Yeah.
But you guys been through like more than a marriage, traveled together,
Yeah.
seen the world. I mean, I bet you guys have some crazy stories. Any crazy story you guys want to share when you guys are traveling, doing shows?
I mean, one of the wildest stories was we had just learned the trick where Tobin stands on my head and juggles
Yeah.
machetes. It was one of our first professional gigs. We got invited over to perform in an international circus in Karachi, Pakistan.
Wow.
So, you know, we said, oh, hey, we'll do it, you know, why not? So we flew over to Pakistan, and there we are on stage. Tobin's up on my head. It was the first time we were actually performing the head, standing on head balance.
I think it was like the end of the 2-week run, right? Was it our
Yeah,
last day, second
we
to
were
last
right
day?
near
maybe?
the end, and Tobin starts to get a little off balance. And, you know, now we know better. If he gets off balance at all,
Yeah.
or starts to go bad, we don't fight for it. He
Okay.
just hops down.
Okay.
You know, but he tried to come down to my shoulders, step back down, and I'm reaching up trying to grab him, and his leg gets tangled in my arm.
Oh no.
And we have
Oh
video
no.
footage of this, of Tobin just plunging down. You know, his legs are all tangled up, so he
Oh
can't hop
no.
up. And he's coming down just face first. You know, he drops everything and just does like a push-up from, you know, he's like
Yeah.
10, 12 feet in the air. Does like a power push-up, and his feet are like over his head.
Yeah.
What did the
Good
crowd
little
do?
scorpion. I don't even remember what the crowd did because I was
The
home.
reaction either. You know?
I'm sure there was a
Well, he
gasp. I
survived,
don't
yeah.
know.
But
I mean,
you know, I got kind of
Yeah.
pushed out, so there's no way I could catch
Yeah.
him. I got squirted out to the side,
Right.
and I'm just watching him fall and going, we could end up in some hospital
Right.
in the middle of Pakistan
Yeah.
for weeks or months. Like, I don't know what's, you know, like, and fortunately, he just bounced right up,
Nice.
yeah.
and other than
Awesome, man.
other than-
The show
other than
must go
bruises,
on.
He was okay. So
Yeah.
that was one of those
Did
sort
our-
of wilder moments
Yeah.
in our career.
Yeah.
You know, we learned a lot of lessons.
So we just saw him, and Tobin stands on his head and juggles machetes, but they also do a thing where they do head-to-head. Can you explain head-to-head really quick?
Yes,
Just
the head-to-head balance is like it's a little donut piece.
is what it sounds
And he
like.
does a freestanding, no hands headstand on my head.
It's awesome.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yours.
So tell me, what's your favorite prop or things you guys like to do when you're doing your shows? You guys have a ladder, you guys have lots of juggling. What's the things you guys enjoy doing?
I mean, I love juggling, so
What got you inspired by juggling?
I don't know. I mean, I just enjoyed the challenge of it. I think was the biggest thing. I didn't like, you know, we were learning as you were before YouTube existed and any of that, so it wasn't as much outside influence as you might get today if you're learning to juggle. But we did have a couple videos. We had one of Bobby May.
Oh, cool.
And I really loved Bobby May's style and like the type of stuff he did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fun thing about juggling as well, you know, we had a lot of friends who were heading off to circus school.
Yeah.
And juggling was just something that we could do.
Yeah.
You could make up tricks. You could see tricks online. You could, well, not online, but in books and other performers and. You know, and just work on it. You didn't need anything special.
Yeah, and then back in those days, you're like, oh my gosh, juggling! Wow, 5 clubs.
I remember learning like Rubinstein's Revenge out of like Charlie Dancy's juggling compendium. I'm looking at these little pictures to learn Rubinstein's Revenge, like one at a time, and it's like, but I didn't. You know, I was a kid then. It was like, I'm gonna learn it.
So today we're here doing, you know, you're doing a show out in the streets of Boston, here at a market. What's it like? Because I know you guys have a stage act, and you do your stage act. What's it like being out here, raw on the streets performing?
I mean, there's something special about street performing. You know, like today's a pretty good example, actually. You know, we came out here, and our first show of the day, after 12 years of street performing, we just couldn't connect with them. You know, it was sort of a miserable little show, and we never got there with audience. And it can be brutal, street performing. You know, when you have a street show that goes poorly, it's like one of the worst feelings. You feel like such a failure.
Right.
But on the flip side, I mean, when you have a street show that clicks into place right at the beginning, and you just create this atmosphere.
Even our very next one today, same day, 15 minutes later, had a completely different vibe.
You know, and when you manage to create that space and have that feel, and the audience gets on your side, there's nothing more rewarding than just doing it for everyone. Anyone can stop and watch, whether they can pay you or not. You're doing it for everyone, and you're just, it's such a good time when it works. So there's something really special about street performing in that you never know what you're getting. And it's up to you and the energy you put into your show, and you can always be surprised by a brilliant show on a day that you think should be terrible. So,
I'm surprised that you say a terrible show, because you guys always have like 400 or 500 people watching you. I mean, they have huge crowds. Is it helpful to be a duo? Go ahead. What did you want to say? Anything else for street performing first?
Well, I was just going to say that it's not necessarily about the number of people you have. I mean, that first one, it was less people than normal, but it's just the attitude you get back. It's like, is it a positive attitude? Is it a negative? I'd rather have a positive attitude, of course, but I'd rather have a negative attitude than have the attitude we had that first show, which is just complete indifference. You know, you want something. You want something to gauge.
No emotion to work with.
You know what you're doing if they're seeing it.
I mean, we've done shows for like 10 people, because our philosophy with street performing is to never stop a show. So once we've started, we don't care if there's one family watching us or 2,000 people. We're going to give them our best.
Right.
You know, and so we've done a show for like 10 people. It was like one family and a couple couples. And we went through and did our whole show, and they were loving it. And you know, you never know. That could be the show where an agent is watching you from a festival.
Right.
And you get booked for, you know, a huge.
Have you had that before? People in the audience just.
Sure, we've had producers and people at our shows.
That's awesome.
You never know when they're going to be there. And those shows can be the most fun, where you just have a few people who are like totally into it.
Have you ever done a thing where you're like, okay, today, let's just forget about our show and do something completely improv? Just try it. Or do you just say, you know what, just go to the show? Because there's a way to do the street and there's a way not. Do you think like there should be a structure or not? I mean, obviously, there should be a structure.
Right. Well, the way we do the street, there's definitely a structure.
Yeah, we have a very structured show, particularly as a two-person act. Anything more than one person, it's much harder to improvise and go off script. And still have the flow of the show be cohesive and work. You know, you can do an improv two-person show, but it's much more difficult. So we tend to stick to, you know, we'll have sections of the show that we don't usually do, that one of us will see something and trigger into it, and we both know to follow, oh, we're doing that version today.
And then give a cue word, okay, now we're back on track.
For the most part, when you're street performing, if you want to make money, you have to get to a certain point of the audience liking you at the end of the show.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's not worth it for us to come out here and fail over and over trying to do stuff that isn't necessarily going to work, and improv, and so we do more fine tinkering. You know, once we have a routine that works, we'll talk to each other still to this day. after almost every show and say, oh, let's adjust that a little bit, let's tweak that. So our show has more evolved slowly over time than major shifts or changes.
Any advice that you give to anybody that wants to start out doing busking or street performing?
I mean, the most important thing would just be to not give up if you actually want to do it.
Yeah, just be willing to fail. You know, you go out there and you make a total fool of yourself. And the other main important thing about street performing is not to get too attached to your own material. You know, we thought we had written some genius jokes over the years, and we can't wait to put them in our show, and we come out and we try them, and it's just, you know, nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
Just no reaction.
Wow.
And instead of, you know, trying for the next 2 years to make that joke work, we just write something else, try a different bit.
Cool.
You know, it's easy to get attached to your own material, and that's a big danger in street performing, I feel like.
Last but not least, what has performing given back to you?
I mean, our life, basically, you know, I mean, our lifestyle, the freedom that we have as traveling performers, to spend time with our friends and family.
Yeah.
A lot
And you have
more
a
than
family now, man.
traditional
It's
job.
awesome.
Yeah, both of us do.
Yeah.
And we've never done anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, right out of high school, we went into
It's awesome.
full-time professional performing.
So you guys never tried to do, have you ever tried doing solo by yourself, and you do solo by yourself, or you've always been
No.
together?
We did like 2 solo street
yeah.
shows once.
What did you
when I
feel
had to go.
about that? You're like, hey.
No, it was great. I mean, I was going back to visit now my wife, but my girlfriend at the time. She owned a yoga studio, so she was busy, couldn't come visit, so I went back to visit her.
And
Cool,
we
man.
pretty much always work as a team. So even if, like when I did the 2 solo street shows, or like he did a walk-around gig once by himself, we take all the money from those gigs we do on our own, and they go right into the pot for both of us.
Awesome.
You know, because we are primarily a team. And
You
we
guys
get
are
it.
brothers, man.
So, you know, that's
guys are
just how it
brothers,
works.
You know?
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah, and performing, I mean, as you know, as a performer, it's like so much fun, like getting to entertain people, like especially on the good shows. It just feels so good to make people laugh, and it makes you laugh yourself.
And you know, while we do have to,
You guys getting paid to play,
do have
man.
to
You guys
split.
getting paid to do this. Like, get on the ladder, 20 feet high in the
you know,
air,
people
juggle
always-
knives on each other's heads.
Yeah.
This is awesome, man. You're living the dream.
oh yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
and go to Greece and New Zealand and
Wow.
Australia and Pakistan.
Any favorite country you loved?
I mean, New Zealand, as far as just like traveling around, New Zealand is spectacular.
I
You know,
love them all, though. It's like just
Yeah,
exciting. going to
everywhere
new
is different.
places.
Like Greece was so foreign and different from anywhere we've been.
Scotland's absolutely gorgeous. You know, Pakistan was eye-opening, and it was like the first like real third world country I'd been to, and like seeing real poverty.
Wow.
And that's eye-opening. You know, concrete 15-story buildings with the whole front facade just broken off, and there's still people living in there, but you just can look in at all the stories.
And little structures on top of the buildings and tents on top of the structures. And, I mean, that's a city built for 1 million people that has 50 million people living in it. So you get a
Unbelievable.
sense for it, you know, it's...
How were the crowds? They just were just so.
The crowds were amazing. I mean, mostly they were, children, you know. And
Yeah, big...
I feel like that.
We didn't.
A lot
It
of
wasn't
countries I was
like
in.
street performing, so we didn't get like the raw, like real people. But it
This
was
gives
still
you a sense, though. We were in a theater, and we show up there, and the guy's producing the show. We do a dress rehearsal, and it was about 3 hours.
maybe
even
3.5
more,
hours.
Maybe 3.5 hours dress rehearsal. And we talked to the guys after the show and said, you know, we've done a lot of shows, and we just want to let you know there's no way that busloads of school kids are going to be able to sit through a 3-hour show with no intermission.
Yeah, no intermission.
You know, and they said, trust us, we know our crowd. And sure enough, we would have, you know, however many people it was, 800 school kids in this theater, and they would sit focused and quiet, clapping after everything.
Yeah, yelling, screaming,
For
but
3
with
hours.
positive energy.
For 3 hours in a row with total focus.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you don't get that in America.
That is awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, there you have it. Red Trousers, my good friends, Tobin and Dave. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.
Thanks, Lucian.
See you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Cool.